All right, everyone, what is going on? I have a update for you on Voyager and everything that's going on with Voyager. You can see this is not Joe P sitting next to me. This is Colin C. This is Chase C. He is my brother. He is a lawyer. I'm going to pretty much let him do the majority of the talking today and go over what the hell is going on with Voyager. You know the crypto boys have a ton of money wrapped up into Voyager. We didn't get enough it off in time. We also have USD that we thought was FDIC backed. We're going to go over most of the questions that we can answer. Now listen, this is never financial advice. It never has been. It is not your official lawyer here talking. This is someone that knows the space, that's done bankruptcy things in the past, that's done a million different things that I don't know anything about. So I had to bring on a professional to get these answers, to get these questions answered for all of you. I did not feel comfortable doing this on my own. So I brought in my brother who knows a 10 times more, a million times more about the law than I do. And probably you know as well. So I'm hoping that he can answer some of our questions or at least give us a direction of where Voyager is going and a likely outcome of what's going to happen. So we're going to keep this as quick and as brief as possible. I'm going to have Chase here go over his background, how he became a lawyer, some really quick things, a minute interview of what's going on with him so he can give you guys some idea of where he's been, where he's going to go in the future. And then we'll get into Three Arrows Capital, Voyager, and all of the mess that's going on with Voyager and the crypto space and exchanges right now. All right, guys, without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, Chase. So, number one, how did you become a lawyer? Do you like what you're doing? What do you mostly do? And how long did you spend researching this stuff to come up with all the numbers and all the things that you would normally do in your normal brief or anything else you would do for a normal case?
Well, how I became a lawyer was, I mean, we have lawyers in the family, a ton of them actually. And I went to undergrad at Iowa, went to law school at Drake here. It's also located in Des Moines, Iowa. And it was just kind of always the thing I wanted to do and got that accomplished. Now I've been a lawyer. It'll be 6 years next month I've been a lawyer. Primarily, I do a lot of family law. I do criminal law and personal injury. We have dealt with some bankruptcy stuff on occasion because some divorce clients will end up filing for bankruptcy, and that triggers a bunch of different things that can happen in a divorce. And we deal with a lot of assets, especially in divorces. We have to value companies and get business evaluations, go through home appraisals. So we deal with a lot of numbers in that realm, and that's probably 60% of our practice is family law oriented. So while I'm not a bankruptcy expert or anything, wouldn't call myself a bankruptcy lawyer. I have touched on it professionally because of divorces, and the bankruptcy can stay a divorce. And once you have bankruptcy, it's people think it's like washing your hands, and this is going to be a little more complicated than just simply washing your hands of bills that you owe and why you'd file personal bankruptcy as opposed to what these guys are doing here.
So you feel that, sorry not to interrupt, so you feel that applying your knowledge that you've gained through the last 6 years, and obviously our mother's been a lawyer for over 30 years, our grandma, our two aunts, our uncles, everybody we got's a lawyer. So I could have called about 20 people. I decided to call him because he's the newest. He knows how to do the research the best. And so you think you can apply all the things you've done for the last 6 years and kind of get an idea of where this is headed, best case scenarios, worst case scenarios, and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think I can give you guys kind of an idea of kind of what I think is going to happen, and kind of maybe clear up some of the language that's being used that maybe is confusing or kind of hard to understand.
And just a reminder, guys, he is not your lawyer. He is doing this for free. So if you could like the video, if you get anything out of this, or, he had to actually come straight from court to here to be able to do this. We've got 30 minutes to get it done. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty of people that we can bring on, help bring light to a lot of situations. This just happens to be one of them. Okay, so let's get into the Voyager situation. Mm-hmm. You can start explaining it. I will help out as I go. But basically, I know you're here to give us information. I need to shut my mouth. You need to talk. Let's go ahead and get into it.
All right. Well, I got a call from my brother here. I don't know. This is early this morning, asking me to look at this Voyager situation. So I spent maybe an hour or two going through some articles and things and looking up some stuff about this. And it seems as if they're in a big bind. Looks like probably their largest debtor who they loan money to. And really, when they say Voyager loan money, they loaned your money. If you invested in them, they loaned your money to someone else, which in this case is Three Arrows Capital. That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
In the term of $650 million. Now, Three Arrows has defaulted on that loan, which means they've missed payments. Once you default, now they've filed bankruptcy. Really, they're trying to force Three Arrows into bankruptcy, which that was going to happen anyway. They've defaulted on such a massive loan. So when you look at that $650 million, you have to look at what was their value. What was Voyager's value? Because $650 million had to be a significant chunk of their net worth that they loaned to Three Arrows. So if you default on that, if you want to think of it in terms that maybe we could all understand, if I had $100 and I loaned 90 of it to Colin and he defaults and he can't pay me my 90, well, now I'm only worth $10 and I have all these people I need to pay because I got the $100 from somebody else, and that's just kind of what has happened on a much larger scale, obviously.
And so what that means for Three Arrows Capital is, can they're going to obviously, file for bankruptcy, all that stuff's going to happen. Is it possible that they even get any money back, that they get any money out of that, Voyager?
Voyager will be a creditor on Three Arrows. They will be a creditor who's seeking money from whatever assets Three Arrows has. The question is, how many creditors does Three Arrows have?
Probably a lot.
Good chance. I mean, is Voyager even the largest? Now, $650 million, I would assume they're the largest creditor, but I don't know that for sure.
No.
They could have got $1 billion from somebody else. And I think they will get some money because obviously Three Arrows must have had some sort of capital for you. They would have shown some sort of capital to loan them the money. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. If you're showing zeros, I'm not going to give you $650 million.
Yes.
You had some sort of returns. Now, the question is, in normal bankruptcy proceedings, you get pennies on the dollar of what may have been the full total owed.
So if they owed obviously $650 million to Voyager might get back $35 million.
Maybe not, maybe more than that, maybe less.
Because you never know.
It might be they owe $650 million to Voyager. Maybe they owe $300 million to another one. Maybe they owe $200 million to another one. I don't know.
Okay.
Without seeing their books, it's hard to tell. But obviously, I would not. It would really surprise me if they got back the full $650 million.
Okay, and now let's jump into, so that's Three Arrows Capital, which happened to Voyager. We all kind of know that, but now we don't know exactly. They're saying like Voyager has 1.3 billion in crypto assets or something like that, 350 million here and some odd there. Can you just explain, what does Voyager kind of have right now, and how does that help us going forward, and what does it mean to be backed by the Metropolitan Bank of New York? Does that mean anything for people that have USD? What does all that mean?
Well, from what I've read about this situation, I believe that $350 million backed by the Metropolitan of New York, I believe that is cash that they have in US dollars to repay, any customers that they have. But who knows how much money they have out there? If they have $350 million to provide to customers who have USD dollars in their company, and they have $700 million, well, that means everybody's not getting paid back.
I gotcha.
So I believe that is cash. The rest of it, they said they had assets in cash and crypto, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I believe they have $110 million that they said is working capital to continue to run the business, albeit in a pretty limited capacity because nobody can trade. Or I believe they've stopped all that.
They have, yes.
So it's going to be in a limited capacity, just keep employees on. And that was also $110 million in cash and crypto. The thing that's really tough for me to say is I don't know what's in crypto and what's in cash. I mean, I could have $2 million in cash and $108 million in crypto. Well, that $108 million could be 90 by the time we're done talking.
Yeah.
It could be 120 by the time we're done talking. I don't know. The cash is going to be pretty set on what the value is, but the crypto could be anything. So without knowing that split, it's hard to tell how much cash they have on hand outside of the $350 million that's backed by the Metro. I think that's the only cash we can be for sure they have. And then the $110 million that they talk about, that's going to be used for running the company. So I don't expect that to be there to hand out to people.
Because they got to pay salaries, they got to pay rent, they got to pay all this
rent,
stuff, right?
Employees,
yep.
Benefits for employees.
They got to pay cleaning the dang building. They got to pay all this stuff. When you're running a business, you know that. You got to keep the lights on.
Well, and, if you run a business like Colin and I both run businesses, we know you got to match your employees' taxes. You have to do all that as an employer, and that's all stuff they have to do regardless if they're filing bankruptcy or not. If you're still paying people, you still have to do it. So I believe that $110 million would probably be gone.
All right, so now in the article, which we can bring up right now a little bit, there's some jargon in here that I really didn't exactly know how to read. And listen, you guys know in the Crypto Boys, we do not read you stuff. This is extremely long. You can go read this yourself, but Chase has already read it, and he's explained it a lot better than I have and understood it way more than I ever would. So what is this idea of receivership? What does that exactly mean? Can you explain it to the people?
Yeah. So they've appointed. If you read the article, that you would have seen that some people have been appointed to do some things by the court, and those are called receivership transitions. What a receivership transition is basically when a company's in trouble, like Voyager is right now, they will appoint someone else. Usually, there are actually law firms in larger cities like New York, Chicago that specialize in this, and they will basically handle the affairs of the business while the bankruptcy continues on. But everything they do has to be approved by the court.
Okay.
So paying salaries and things, but they're not making investments anymore, but paying rent, all that stuff goes through the court, and it's taken out of the hands of the people who've really gotten themselves in the bankruptcy issue you're in right now. And now a third-party board is basically going to do that, and that's what a receivership transition is.
So why do they take it out? Just because they've already screwed it up and they need to get it to somebody else, or is it because they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy and now they have to do this, or because they did it voluntary, right?
Well, it's a voluntary Chapter 11, so it's better to have, if you have a receivership, that takes a lot of the onus off you. We have a board that's being supervised by the court.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I mean, you kind of already screwed it up. You filed bankruptcy, and you had billions of dollars of people's stuff, and now you're saying I can't. Well, bankruptcy, I mean, essentially means I don't have the money to pay back all the people I owe money to.
Yes.
And that's what they're doing, and you've already gotten yourself in this situation. So a board comes over, and it gives people more confidence, I guess, that someone else is maybe managing these assets. And a lot of times the receivership transitions can also help people not on deal with the debts, because I believe, if I read this right, Voyager has about 100 creditors, maybe more, that they owe money to themselves.
I gotcha.
Which is different than the $650 million they're owed, but they also owe money.
Yes.
To over 100 people. So the receivership.
So they're in debt as well, let alone loaning money out.
Yes, they're also in debt too. I believe their largest creditor was $75 million, but you can imagine if one's $75 million, you have 100 of them, that can add up pretty quick. Yep. But the receivership can help you, manage your company day to day. And it can be a limited or a general receivership. A limited would just mean you have one portion, but I believe they've done a general, which means the entire business has been transferred over. And then 2, they can help you with the debts that you owe, and see if we can come to some solutions and see if people will take settlements less of what they're owed just to make sure they get something back.
Okay.
And the receivership transition can also help you with that.
Okay, so now I've got a couple questions getting into the nitty-gritty. Is there anything you want to say that before I turn into kind of more of the questions that are based for our community and people who actually in Voyager, that's about maybe the nitty-gritty or something that we wouldn't know as regular people that needs to be stated before we get into some of the questions of the more tiring questions of people actually getting their money back and things like that?
Well, one is that these articles are not court documents. There's somebody reading the documents. They're all public, I believe. They should all be public. So if you wanted to go read the court file, you probably can. I think they filed in the Southern District of New York, which is the federal district that they would have filed bankruptcy in. But just so you know, the numbers, it's not like they're all exact. So $650 million owed, that's rounding. There's no way that all these numbers are exactly round numbers. And 2, we don't know how much Voyager owes to other people. The only ones we know, there's 100 creditors.
Yeah.
But the largest is $75 million. But I don't know what the rest of them are.
So it says right here. Yep, you're right. They filed Chapter 11 U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the Southern District of New York, and they also had to do it to intend to seek recognition of Chapter 11 case Voyager and Ontario Supreme Court justice. So they had to do it obviously in Canada as well, because that's where they're based. But their funds for USD is backed by FDIC by the bank that's in New York.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's get into some real questions that you guys probably want answered, that I want answered, and all that stuff. And we have not chatted about this before. We literally came on here and boom, ready to rock and roll. What are the chances people get 100% of their crypto back at some point in time?
I would low, less than 10%.
Right there, you heard it right there. It's very low. That's not great. Okay, what are the chances that people get most of their USD back that they had on Voyager?
Well, most that depends what you define most, I guess, because
let's say 75% or more. I have no idea. 75% of their dollars back.
That I can't give you a great answer for because we know how much they have, right? We know how much that we know for sure they have $350 million. We just don't know how much they've taken in, how much cash that they owe.
Yes.
So, if they only owe $500 million, 75%, yeah, I think most people get that back. If they owe people $1 billion in cash, then you're only going to get back X amount percent. So really it depends how much cash they've taken in and now owe to customers like you,
yes,
Colin, and everybody else.
So what are the chances then that they somehow make the biggest change of all time? Because companies have made bankruptcy before, and they become a good company again. They fix their mistakes, and a year down the road, they start killing it again, and they get everybody, they're able to get people's money back because of the bankruptcy. Is your money just now gone, or would you get paid back then?
No, your money's not gone because of the bankruptcy. Now they'll want to try to settle to get the debt off the books, but it's not just gone. If the company were to rebound, and let's say somebody reaches out and gives them a lifeline as like maybe they have an angel investor, maybe they get bought out.
Yeah.
They would take the existing debts, which would include the debts that they owe to everybody, listening to this, I assume, and that would be another thing that you could get back. So it's not all is lost. Everything
Yes.
is, we don't need to, start jumping off a bridge or anything.
Yes.
But yeah, this is bad news. And generally, I can tell you just generally in divorce, which is more personal bankruptcy, I don't see the creditors or the debtors they don't get all their money back. The creditors don't receive. I mean, a lot of times I've done this with.
And we're the creditors.
You're the creditors. Yes.
Okay. In this case, because we're loaning out our money.
The people are the creditors. You guys gave your money to, basically credited it to Voyager.
Yes.
And they were supposed to invest it for you and hopefully grow.
Yes.
And obviously it didn't work out but you guys are all the creditors.
Okay.
Now, what I've seen is I've done this a lot in like people who are trying to get rid of old vehicle debt, maybe a judgment on a medical bill, things like that, where it goes to a collection agency, which maybe has happened to some of you. You go to a collection agency. So I've had clients come to me, and what I would do is I'll call the collection agency and say, hey, listen, the debt is, let's say it's $1,400.
Yeah.
Will you take $600 and be done? A lot of times they'll do that.
So so Voyager could be sending us something to figure that out?
They could say, will you just take this money to get out now?
I got you.
It could happen. It would be on obviously a much larger scale than, $1,400 in a vehicle, but that I see that happen a lot with medical bills. People will write down if you credit card debt. A lot of people, if you've ever been in credit card debt and try to consolidate debt or anything, the credit card companies will write that down. If you just call them and say, listen, hey, I owe you $5,000. Will you take $2,300 right now? And a lot of times they'll do it because they know it's going to take, 15 years for them to get paid. They'll just take the money now.
I gotcha. So it does say in here, the proposed plan, reorganization plan, would upon implementation resume account access, return value to customers. Under this plan, basically what they're trying to do is get you some sort of combination of crypto. Oh, shoot, I need to put this on. Sorry about that, guys. Basically what we do is need to get some sort of combination of crypto in their accounts, the proceeds from Three Arrows Capital, and common shares of a newly reorganized company, Voyager tokens. So basically, they're going to send you Voyager tokens because of things you already had on there and trying to recover some of your crypto that way. But obviously, Voyager isn't worth jack right now.
I mean, Voyager.
It's not worth anything.
These are just, I read a couple articles, don't know how true they are, didn't do the back research on that, didn't really have time. But I saw some estimates of they saying Voyager's worth like maybe $50 million.
Yeah, so that's not going to be good. But it says here, customers with USD, U.S. dollars deposits in their accounts will receive access to those funds after reconciliation and fraud prevention process with the Metropolitan Bank. So it looks like if you have USD, it looks like you're going to get something back. This looks a lot more promising than this up here. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, I think because I think they know exactly how much cash they have. They have to know exactly how much cash they have.
Yeah, because right here it says the company has over 110 million in cash owned and crypto assets on hand.
No, that's and owned.
And owned.
So that's the problem. We don't know cash
see.
and crypto. We don't know the
Okay.
because it could be $110 million of any combination of that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. And then it says, file for Chapter 11 process. In addition to more than $350 million of cash held in for benefit of customers account of. So do they actually have $350 million in cash?
Yes.
In the bank?
Yes.
They have that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then basically, okay, let's get this going here. And they've got approximately 1.3 billion in crypto assets in the platform. So that's other people's money, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
but that's other people's money that's invested right now.
Yes. Okay. But that's still on there. They haven't lent that out.
Right. Correct. But that's obviously you guys, if you're listening to this show, you know the volatility of crypto, and that 1.3 might have just changed here in the last 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. We all get that. So plus claims against 3 Arrows Capital if they get anything back from that.
Yes.
So what we're looking at here. Here's what I want to do. Sum this up. What is the worst case scenario that can happen? Go ahead and give it to us. What is doom and gloom? I know people. I mean, people on Twitter right now, dude, are talking about ending their lives over this stuff. Like, come on, like you got to take a chill pill, guys. We're all in a really horrible situation, but we will get out of this. But what is doom and gloom situation? Like, we got to give it to the people.
Doom and gloom to me, would be that people get back. I don't know. If they liquidate all their crypto and just say sell it all and they try to pay everybody back, I mean you're losing a large percentage of your portfolio depending on how much you have in there. Because I think that would be if they just say, you know what, crypto's not for us, we sell it all. But the question is how much of people, if we sell it all and let's say we end up with $2 billion that we could pay back to people, well, we had $5 billion that was invested with us. So I mean, you could lose a significant portion of your portfolio depending on how much you had in with Voyager.
And if you had it in USD, you still could potentially get back a little bit more. Hopefully, they had the right amount of USD to maybe pay some people back.
My guess is, I would tell you this. My guess is that 350 million is not just a number they pulled out of the sky.
Yeah.
They took that number because that's maybe the cash that was owed to people, or at least a percentage of the cash that was owed to people. They didn't just come up with 350 million and say, oh, that's enough.
Okay.
There was a formula to come to that number.
Okay, because a lot of people I got you there. And that's already, they know they have that.
They also know how much cash they had.
Yes.
So they would know how much they need to have in a bank to support that, which crypto, you can't tell how much they had because it changes all the time.
Yes.
But they knew how much cash they had on the books.
Okay. So, and it does look like they're going to try to at least come back and run the company, make the company whole again, insolvent again, because right now they're insolvent because they went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. So if they do that, everybody hopefully would get their money back if they can start and getting, they can figure it out and right the ship. However, now I need to know that's doom and gloom. You're going to get pennies on your crypto back. You're probably going to get some USD back. So if you had most of it in USD, you should feel a little bit more comfortable. If you had most of it in crypto, it's probably a little bit scarier.
Yeah,
right.
I would say that's exactly right.
So now what I want to know is what is top of the line, best case scenario, best thing that can happen to everybody on Voyager?
Well, I mean, the best thing could happen is maybe Bitcoin, which is what they had most of their crypto in. I think I read it was like 80% or 90% of what they invested was Bitcoin. That it goes back up to 40 or 50,000 a coin. When it's at, I believe it was low, like 20,100 when I read. It goes back up that now those 1.3 billion, they just got doubled to 2.6, and now we're back. That would be best case scenario. I don't know that's going to raise that high. So I don't know if it's ever going to get to, I believe it was at 75,000 at one point.
69,000.
69,000.
Yeah, but it's going to take a while for that to come back with all the microeconomics.
But I think something that could also happen, which happened with BlockFi, was someone could come in and buy the company and buy them out and reorganize the company and maybe get the customers' money back that way. But I would think the best way to make Voyager more solvent or profitable would be Bitcoin has to go up because that's what they've invested heavily in, and their 1.3 billion in assets, 80 or 90% of that's simply Bitcoin.
So it is possible that everybody does get all their money back. it is possible everybody does even get all their crypto back, it would just take a while or for the market to go back up. Probably don't sell now. You're already down so far. Who cares? So you don't even have access to it anyways. And number two would be maybe some big time hitter comes in, gives them a huge line of credit or buys them out, and now we have to keep our money maybe on the exchange or whatever that would be, follow some red tape, and that would allow them to distribute our assets, make the money they need to make to then eventually give us regular trading back to all of our funds.
Yes, that could happen. It happened with BlockFi, although BlockFi, we were talking, I believe they sold for $240 million, if I remember right in my research. We're talking about $1.3 billion. So obviously it's going to take much more of an angel investor to do that.
Well, and the BlockFi, it went up to like 640. They sold for 240, but there was a bunch of stipulations that could get it up to like 640. That still ain't near enough.
Yeah,
still ain't
you're still only half.
You're still getting pennies on your dollar
and
there.
When they're talking about their 1.3 billion in crypto assets in the platform, they are talking about that, but don't confuse that to think that we have another 350 million on top of that. That 350 million is probably spoken for with cash on the platform. That 1.3 billion is just the crypto assets they have on the platform.
Okay.
So I don't want people like add it up. Oh, really? They got 1.65 billion.
And another question I have, and you may not even know this because I don't know it. So if you don't know it, just say we don't know and we apologize for it. Is that if you sent out a transaction right before this happened and your transaction is still pending and it hasn't gone through and it's just out in the blockchain floating around, what happens to that?
I honestly don't know how they're going to deal with those, because I assume they have transactions going on every second, minute?
All the time, except for obviously Friday at 2:00 they said boom, no more.
Generally, you would just refund that, but it is bankruptcy, so refunds are So I honestly don't know what they're going to do with the pending transactions, and that may be something that comes out in the coming days. Actually, I would probably expect it to.
Okay. Now we've kind of answered all of the heavy hitter questions. The likelihood of getting your crypto back, the likelihood of getting at least your USD back. That seems a little bit higher, significantly higher, I should say, than getting your crypto back. Is there anything else you want to say to the people? Anything else? Any lasting words? I'm going to leave the floor to you.
The only thing I would say is Colin showed me some people on Twitter, talking to take a significant jump in like ending their lives. Don't do that. This is the market. It's money. There are things more important. Don't do that. And this is not end all be all. Companies have filed bankruptcy before and worked out, and they also haven't filed bankruptcy before and it doesn't work out. But this is there is that 650 million out there, and maybe Three Arrows is in a better position than I'm aware of. I doubt it if they're defaulting on a loan that large. I doubt that because you would want to pay that loan off first, considering it's the largest one. Yeah. But don't press the panic button yet. Let the courts because court processes are slow, regardless of whatever case it doesn't matter the case you have, whether it's small claims for $1,000 or we're talking billions of dollars like we are here. It's a slow process. Chapter 11 can take a long time, and there'll be a full accounting of everything they have. So don't, if it's right for you, cash out whatever they offer you, but don't take this as like this is it. We've lost all hope. I don't think it's there yet. Although do take it seriously, because it is a significant filing. Okay.
So and just like he said, that's the best way to put it, guys. It is money. And you can make more, and you will make more. And get yourself if it's not your keys. If it's not on your wallet, it ain't your crypto. And that's something everybody can take aware of in this bear market. We're going to hope Voyager comes back and figures it out.
They might.
And you may get all your money back in a year and be like, dang, I got all my crypto and all my money back. Is that likely to happen? We don't know. We just try to explain it with a professional. Remember, guys, this is not legal advice. It's not financial advice. We are trying to help you. Chase came over, gave an hour or more with research of his time. I couldn't afford a lawyer right now to come over and do this. So please like the video so it gets out to more people. This is probably the most important and prudent video we have done on the Crypto Boys to give people, at least hopefully an ease in their mind and an idea of what could happen.
And I try to give you guys just some kind of background on what could happen. And like Colin said, it's money, and you guys can all make more of it. But yeah, maybe we'll look back in a year in this video and say, wow, that didn't need to happen. They're doing great now. That's possible.
Absolutely. All right, guys, if you guys would thank Chase in the comments below, put thank you, Chase, something down below. Other than that, guys, we are with you 100% of the way. If you got questions, let us know. But as always, we appreciate you guys rocking with the fittest crypto channel on YouTube.